gonna be a little something more. I've got a plan in mind, a special thing in store. The light bulb inside my head said, get out and play, 'cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. It's my lucky day, my lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit's foot or to be told. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. Slept in 'cause I don't care and didn't make the bed. Sip coffee on my couch, what can I do instead? No work, it's only fun, 'cause it's all okay. 'Cause you never feel this way. It's my lucky day, it's my lucky day. It's my lucky day, my lucky day. Don't need a pot of gold, a rabbit.
So we're anchored off the town of Latoka, and this evening, well, those are some pretty dark clouds. I don't think they're going to do anything. Look at that, Joyce.
You hear little birds in there?
I don't know. Probably.
Greetings from Latoka, Fiji. We're in Latoka to provision, but we had quite an event last night to get here. We had sailed up from Port Dinnerau to Vunda Marina, but Vunda was full and we took the quarantine buoy for the night.
So somewhere around 9:30, 10 o'clock, the wind died. The quarantine buoy had a 5-foot pole with a light on top of it, and when the wind died, the buoy lodged the pole under our sprit and started ramming.
So we didn't put up any sails, we just started the engine and headed for Latoka. But quickly the engine stalled, and so we threw up all the sails, but the air was very light, 5-6 knots of wind, and right from Latoka. So we tacking back and forth
by satellite. We were lucky enough to have satellite
photos
of the whole area.
Yeah, the charts here are off, too far off to get between all the reefs. There's multiple small reefs here. We could sail up to these reefs at night, even though we couldn't see them. They have sticks on them, but you can't really see it at night. And by the time you can recognize the little sticks that the natives put up, you're on the reef. We needed all the room we could to tack the boat back and forth to get toward Latoka. So we went on with multiple tacks. The tacks doubled the distance, so our night got longer.
Our average speed was 2.3 knots. The total distance traveled from the time the engine died to the time we got to the anchorage was 8 miles. And about a mile of that was by dinghy, basically.
Yeah, 8 miles is almost double what the total distance should have been. But we were doing okay, but the wind kept getting lighter and lighter, and if the wind dies completely and we don't have an engine, it was causing us a lot of concern, because the reefs are broken up, but they have currents that run in between them. With no engine and no wind, we were at the mercy of these currents, and we'd be on the reef in no time at all. So once the wind died, that was the biggest problem for us, because without the wind to sail and without the engine to motor, we're sort of at the mercy of the currents that run between the reefs. And even though this was a calm night, it still was a threat to the boat. If we went on the reef, we could lose the boat. So it's always a concern. So we were stymied and looking for a solution.
Stymied? We were terrified and looking for a solution. So I suggested we throw the boat overboard
It's hard to throw a boat overboard.
The dinghy went overboard, and with an engine on it, and we tied it up to the side of the boat and pushed. What is she? 12 ton?
She's laden. She's probably around 16 tons.
We pushed that for a mile into the anchorage.
Yeah, with our 9.8 horsepower, we put the dinghy alongside, tied her up so that I could provide propulsion from the side of the boat, and Lori could then steer the boat and steer it in the darkness with the instrument.
Without hitting anything. Mind you, I had the satellite and I had a regular chart so I could see what was on them, but we were going into an anchorage and it was black. There was no moon, no stars, it was dark. And
so this is
we were going into the anchorage.
Anchoring by braille.
By braille, yeah, that's it.
We have the depth sounder on, and so we could tell when we kind of get to the right depth, and there were a couple of lights on shore that give us an idea. So we had it going. We were surprised how well the boat moved under dinghy power. But we worried our way to the anchorage and eventually dropped the hook around 3 or 4 in the morning. Living the life.
Yeah, well, it's just one adventure after the next.
Yes.
So we got another one coming up. We're planning a trip as soon as we figure out what's wrong with the engine. We, as in he.
Yeah, I've been working on that for a while, but we're going to provision up and head out to the Yasawa Islands. Right now, I would normally just describe them as a beautiful set of islands in western Fiji, but they also come with a lot of reefs and dangers that having no engine makes that a little.
Yeah, I have no doubt Joyce is going to fix it.
Yeah. Well, I may have a little doubt, but we're going to do it one way or the other. We're going to provision up here and go soon, and we'll get you some real video. We couldn't get you any footage of this little trek through the night, through the reefs, tacking to Latoka, because it was pitch dark, and we don't have enough lights to make that work.
And I was terrified.
And we were busy.
Any luck? Did you catch something? Oh, good, good.
Check, check. Go one more. Okay, hold it right here. 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's fever in the cold black boots that she wore. She danced like a hurricane that was coming ashore. Too far gone. Tied myself to the mast, let the sun come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. So far from the lonely road, do you miss the sound of the freeway? When you're halfway home, you can call on me. When you're halfway home, you can find me. She was through it, she was gonna come out on top, but she knew it. She said, come on people now, gave him a hand. The ship's going down, but you can still hear the band. Rock on. So far from the lonely road, do you miss the sound of the freeway? When you're halfway
Ship's log, June 5th, 2019. We had a really great sail, shook out Ashika's skirts in a fresh breeze, whisked away almost a year of mustiness, arrived in the anchorage between Waiya and Yasawa just before sunset. Found the anchorage to be poor. Coral sand makes holding difficult, and the cut between the islands allowed the northeast wind and swell to enter the bay, putting us on a lee shore. And a south swell wrapped around the southern tip of the island, adding to the fun. At first light, we picked up the anchor and headed to a bay on the northwest side of Waiya that should give us protection from the northeast winds. The engine stalled again. We were just clear of the reefs, but ready with the main up and the Genoa poised for action. We think it's a leak in the fuel system, so Doyce tightened hoses and rebled the engine again. We would need our motor to get past the reefs and get into the safety of Liku Liku Bay.
Show your face alone. Get so high, gonna shoot the moon. I know you think I'm wasting away here. You're still out there raising Cain, making hay. I pray for rain. If you come home, you know you can stay here. And so the adventure begins, with tropical beauty as a backdrop. We cope with an unreliable engine in reef-strewn waters. I think the stress of listening for the engine surge that precedes the stall has added to the silver around my hairline. But maybe it really is a silver lining, because I think the loss of diesel power has made me a better sailor. Stay tuned for a few clips from part 2 of our Yasawan adventure. From the bottom to the top, top, top. Raise your voice, make it stop, stop, stop. We're going to the top, top, top. Raise your voice, make it stop, stop, stop. It's gonna be alright. Feel what I say. Get involved in the fight. Learn how to play. We have faith in our dreams and direction. You know we're going upstream and cross the ocean. Across the ocean. Oh, from the bottom to the top, top, top. Raise your voice, make it stop, stop, stop. We're going to the top, top, top. Raise your voice, make it stop, stop, stop. I'm like a rope dancer, keep moving not too far. I'm searching some answers, where can I find it all? Give my message to you, feel it in every cell. There's so much things to do, working on ourselves. Whoa, oh, 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 work on ourselves. From the bottom to the top, top, top. Raise your voice, make it stop, stop, stop. We're going to the top, top, top. Raise your voice, make it stop, stop, stop. Happiness comes from inside, don't search it out. Easy to understand what I'm talking about. Don't let nobody turn off your light. Stand for what you believe in, live good over evil. Let go of the bad thing and fight for your freedom. Don't wait for a better season. Whoa, don't wait for a better season.
That's just extraordinary.